So Psalm 23, the shepherd's psalm. On Friday I talked about the first half. So today I'm going to talk about the second half. And I'm going to start with the valley of shadows. The glen of gloom, as that version put it. I don't know which I prefer actually, the valley of shadows or the glen of gloom. We all walk through those valley of shadows, don't we? At times. Maybe you're walking through a difficult valley right now. The promise of the shepherd is that he is with you. He is with us. He walks with us. He is our guide. He is our leader. He is the peace bringer and the light bringer, keeping us safe at night, watching over us by day, even on the most difficult paths. And then it talks about, even in the darkest valley I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. I've always thought that was a bit strange, that we should be comforted by two sticks, which is effectively what they are, aren't they? Two sticks. But they are individual to the shepherd. And as the shepherd grows and learns his craft with the sheep, probably from a young boy, he finds his own stick. He doesn't necessarily inherit it from his father. He goes out and seeks one that's the right weight, the right height, that fits his hand. And they are crafted into both a rod and a staff. And the rod is the short, club-like weapon. Could be used as a weapon. It could be thrown with accuracy if something was coming towards a sheep. It could be used to beat off an attack, although probably that wasn't the shepherd's preference, because it would mean that the animal that was attacking was quite close, because it was a short stick. I love the fact that, and there is a verse, passing under the rod. I think it comes from Ezekiel in the Old Testament, when the shepherd would count the sheep into the fold at night. And as the sheep passed in, he would tap it on its back as it went through. So as he counted the sheep in, so counted in at night to make sure that they were all there. And as the sheep goes under the rod, it has that sense of the shepherd's eye is on that sheep. So when you go to bed tonight, if that's how you like to think of it, going back to your fold tonight, look for the shepherd's tap on your back, that he's counted you in. You're safe, and he has set his eyes upon you. And then in the morning, when the sheep come out of the fold, he uses his rod again. But this time it's a bit of a slower process, because he holds back, because they're all safe in the fold, he holds back the sheep with his rod, stands in the entrance. So as each sheep comes out, it has a much closer examination, so that if there is a bit of a fly trouble around an eye or around a nose or something like that, the shepherd can spot it and can deal with it. And we'll come to the verse in a minute where the shepherd deals with a problem like that. So he keeps the sheep in the fold while they come out, and they are subjected to his kind of scrutiny. I love the fact that the rod is also used to prod a stubborn sheep. Have you ever felt the prod of the rod, of the shepherd's rod? Because you're not quite moving in the direction he wants you to go, I wonder. So that's the rod. And I guess that's why the rod gives comfort, because you know you're counted in. As you come out, you're examined, you're under the eye of the shepherd, you're included, you're part of the flock. And of course, if you were missing, if there was a sheep missing, we know what the shepherd would do. He would go and look for you. The crook, the longer stick with the funny end, is the rescuing device, the one that will pull a sheep out of water, out of a hole, if you're not sure what I mean, go and have a look at the picture in the little chapel, because there is a picture in there of the shepherd rescuing a sheep that's gone down a crevice, I suppose. It can pull a sheep away from a dangerous plant that it's just about to eat that would be poisonous. It can pull a sheep away from a boundary line where it's about to cross over and would become somebody else's property. So the crook is a very valuable instrument to the shepherd. I wonder if you've ever known the shepherd yank you back from something. You had that experience in your life where you were going to do something and then you had that sudden, absolutely not, and you do something else. Maybe that was the shepherd's crook, just lifting you back from that moment. So that's the rod and the staff, and that's why they comfort. That's why they give courage, because they keep us in the flock. They keep us safe. And then it says, you prepare a table for me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. When the shepherd was about to move sheep from one grazing place to another, he would either go out himself or send out a trusted person who would go and examine the land where the sheep were going to graze. And he would be looking for the poisonous plants, and where possible he would pull them up so that the sheep didn't eat them by accident. But he would also look for snake holes, because of course if sheep were grazing in the grass and a viper came up out of a snake hole, it would bite the sheep on the nose, and that would be it for the sheep. So the shepherd would clear. If he noticed a snake hole, he would clear the whole of the plant life, so that actually it was more difficult for the snake to come out. And if necessary, he would pour oil or something like that around the edge of the hole so that actually it couldn't get out. So it was making the feasting table, the pasture, much safer for the sheep. So that's why it's in the presence of the enemies, because the sheep could then graze quite safely, all the snakes tucked in their holes, because they couldn't get out. And the shepherd would also clear the water holes that get clogged up with sticks and things like that as the water runs down the hills. So it would clear the water holes. So the shepherd's preparation for the sheep to move into that area was very exacting. Such is his care of his flock. And so for us. He might not need to pour oil around snake holes for us, but I'm sure you can think of an equivalent that he's done for you that you didn't know he was doing at the time, but when you got there, you found that actually the shepherd had gone before and prepared the way. He anoints my head with oil. That's what the shepherd does when he notices that the sheep's got a bit of an infestation of fly or something like that around the eyes or the nose. He would, by hand, anoint the sheep's head with oil. If the eyes were dry and dusty, he would clean them. Imagine the care of the shepherd pouring oil on your head as a soothing, cleansing, restorative thing. What a lovely thing to experience. The oil of the shepherd being cleansed around your head, your face, your neck, getting rid of all the things that irritate. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life. I've heard those talked of as the shepherd's sheepdogs, goodness and love, that will follow me and do the bidding of the shepherd to keep me safe. Goodness and love that keep us in the right paths. Shepherd out front leading, sheepdogs behind, following on. How safe is that? And isn't it lovely that the sheepdogs are goodness and love, or goodness and mercy, however your translation puts it? They are the things that follow us by the grace of the shepherd. All the days of my life. And so I dwell in the flock of the Lord forever. Amen.